I was walking through the shop the other day and I realized that we move a lot of IMT equipment, but we typically don't have a lot of the more custom bodies that IMT produces laying around. And we just happen to have 6 of the 7 main bodies that IMT produces on the ground right now. Behind me is a Dom 4. We've also got some Dom 3s, some Dom 2s, some Dom 1s, some DSE 20s, some CS Contractor Series bodies, and the only thing that we're missing is a DSE 12. So I called our video guy. I said, hey, can you get here pretty quickly before anything moves and do a tour of all the different body options from IMT? We're going to come back to this one last. We're going to start with the most popular bodies and come to the most specialized bodies at the end. We're going to head over to Dom 1s first. All right, so this is our most popular body that we sell. This is a Dominator 1 or a Dom 1. This is 11 foot long. You can also get this in a 9 foot length, and you can get this in a couple of different compartment configurations. This is the most popular one with the raised right compartment. So the right compartment, right front, is going to be 60 inches high, and the rest of this is going to be 44 inches high. These are all designed to accept up to an 8,600 pound crane, so that's 54,000 foot-pounds. This is the most popular crane that we install on this body. This is a 7,500 crane, but you can go up to the 8,600 if you need a little extra lift. These bodies all have outrigger capabilities. You have to have that with the crane. I'm gonna stop myself right there because I should have said stabilizer. So these are technically and specifically stabilizers. I may slip up a couple of times during the videos and say outrigger. It's a pretty common thing in our industry to call these outriggers, but these are specifically stabilizers. And the difference is that outriggers will lift the tires up and give 100% of your stability from the actual pads. These, the wheels stay on the ground, and these stabilizers do what they're named after. They're meant to stabilize, not provide all the stability for your unit. Back on the rear of the truck, we've got this nice workbench bumper here, and this is made of 1/4 inch cold rolled steel. We typically use bed liner to protect this because it just gets so much use and abuse, but you could paint this as well. The side packs are constructed of 10 and 12 gauge galvanized steel, and this is 1/8 inch deck plate on the load space here. The difference on galvanized, if you were curious, versus galvanized is more common, is the galvanized, it still has a similar dip, but they send it through in what's called an air knife, and then it's baked so that galvanized zinc coating bonds tighter to the steel, and it's a pretty common used material for painted applications like this. The cranes are 95–98% of the time mounted on the passenger side or what we would consider the right side of the truck. But you can order this with the crane mounted on the driver's side or what we would consider the left side. We're going to see some bodies in a few minutes that come in direct from the factory. IMT uses an Axalta primer when they bring them in. We paint with Sherwin-Williams Genesis products. So we bring the bodies in, we give them a quick sand down, and then we apply 2 coats of this 960 primer and then 2 coats of the Genesis M. We've been painting for 4 or 5 years now and have had excellent success with these products. We're on the left side of the body here, and we call this LV1, which is left vertical first compartment. This would be LV2. This is LH, left horizontal, and at the rear we have the LR compartment. If you have a longer body, you're obviously going to have more compartments. If you hear terms thrown around like LV3, that would be the left vertical compartment that's the 3rd one back from the front. This is a Series 3 body, which is the latest version of the IMT Dominator series. They've got the Series 2 bodies, which has the same black latches, similar black latches. They're not exactly the same, although there is a universal kit that'll fit either. That's why you're going to need your part number for ordering parts, and I'll show you where to get your part number in a second. The Series 1 body has silver latches, and those latches don't interface. Anyways, to Series 3, this is cast steel that's powder coated, and these hinges are stainless steel. The door's constructed of 14 gauge galvannealed material, and it's a single panel door. The benefits of the single panel door is that you don't trap moisture inside your door, and the door is also a lot more flexible for when your body's going off-road or your crane is lifting things up. You're not getting a lot of strain inside of your door because it's just made to flex. Another great thing about these doors, we do a fair amount of refurbs in our Columbus shop, so we take in all the other manufacturers, I won't name them right now, bring those 10-year, 12-year-old bodies back to life. When you're going to replace a set of doors, because that's usually something that's all the bottoms are rusted out and everything, a set of doors can cost you in today's dollars $6,000, $7,000 and take 3 or 4 months to get. With the IMT doors, every one of these doors is somewhere between $150 to $250, and they're all readily available. So if you crash into something, you've got door damage, whatever it is, it's usually pretty easy to get these doors. On the inside, if you're looking for your serial number, is going to be located on the top of this compartment here. The other thing you're going to want to know when you're sizing toolboxes, these are IMT toolboxes, and we also run American Eagle toolboxes, which is another excellent manufacturer. When you want to take those measurements, you want to measure from the inside here to make sure that you can get the toolbox in, not the full width of the compartment. And you're also going to want to remember that there's 2 inches between the floor and this threshold here, so you're going to want to make sure that your toolbox gets a riser so that your bottom drawer can open and close. Speaking of ordering parts, with our later builds, we are running everything off a project number, so you'll see this sticker inside your door. You can give the parts department this project number and they'll be able to look up your project and figure out exactly what you need. For older projects, you're going to have to use the serial number tag, and for the body, it's going to be in the first vertical compartment, LV1, at the top next to the cab of the chassis. Your main controls for everything in the truck are going to be underneath the crane, but IMT also gives you a secondary box here with switches for your lights. So it's really easy for you to get out of your driver's side, open up your first compartment, and start flipping your lights on when you're working in a dark environment. On the inside of the door, we've got a 3-point latching system, and this latch is adjustable. So if over time things change in your body and this latch gets a little loose or a little tight, you can just use this here to adjust it and make it more comfortable for opening and closing your door. All these compartments come compartment coated from the factory, and this has been one of the best things about this body. You can actually buy this compartment coating in 2 gallons at a time. It's about $200, but this compartment coating is super durable, and if you've got a bunch of tools and parts rattling around in your truck compartments for 10 years, this compartment coating is really going to protect that. Every compartment also has standard LED compartment lights. In the horizontal compartment, which this is, you're going to get a light on each side, standard, and in the vertical, taller compartments, you're going to get standard 1 light per compartment. In your rear crane compartment, this is a drip pan. When water comes in through your crane, as it's likely to do, it's going to redirect that water towards the back corner of your crane compartment and out of your body, so that water is not collecting on the inside of your crane compartment and messing things up. This is your main control panel for your body, and you've got your stabilizer controls here and your light controls here. You're going to see some fuses and then 3 hour meters. To clarify any confusion that's come up with hour meters, This first one that says chassis, that's going to sense when the key is on and the parking brake is set. So it's not always going to give you an accurate picture of how many hours your chassis has been running. And quite frankly, most chassis today have that feature already built in. The next one over is crane, and that's going to sense when 12-volt power is sent to the crane, and that is going to be very accurate. The compressor option, similar. It's going to sense when 12-volt power is sent to the compressor. So on a rotary screw, that hour meter is going to match pretty close with what your compressor is running. On a recip compressor, since you can send 12-volt power and then the compressor is going to sense whether the air tank needs air or not, that hour meter is not always going to match what the actual hours are on the compressor, again, because that's saying there's 12-volt power going to the compressor, not that the compressor is actually running. That compressor hours on a recip may be significantly lower than what this number shows. Last thing on this body, and trust me, the rest of these bodies are going to go super fast because most of the features that I've pointed out in the Dom 1 also apply to the Dom 2, Dom 3, Dom 4, DSC-20, and the Contractor Series body. So this is a 60-inch high compartment, and this is vented for your bottles. If you look here, these latches are individually locking. So when you get your body, everything's going to be keyed alike, and quite frankly, it's going to be keyed the same as every other IMT body. But there's a bunch of different lock cylinders that you can purchase, and they're only about $8 a piece. So if you wanted your body keyed differently than the other guys on the job, or you even wanted to key, we've had situations where two techs are working out of the same truck, and so they wanted the left side keyed differently from the right side, you can replace these cylinders pretty easily and pretty inexpensively. Last thing on this body is the front stabilizers, which are standard on the Dom 1. You won't see those on some of the other bodies, which we're going to see next. This is a Dom 2 body, and the Dom 2 series have the front stabilizers. These are designed to accept up to a 10,000-pound crane, and you can get those in either 25-foot or 30-foot. They are 75,000 foot-pound crane rated bodies. You can get these in a couple of different lengths that are standard. This is a 14-foot body. You can also get this in a 13 or an 11-foot version. And the difference between a Dom 2 and a Dom 3, they look almost identical, but the Dom 2s have the front stabilizers, the Dom 3s don't. The Dom 2s, when you look at your stability chart for your crane, they're going to be stable 360 degrees in all load zones. The Dom 3s, without the front stabilizers, they have a higher crane capacity, so those cranes, you can put a 12,000-pound crane on a Dom 3, but your 100% load zone is only going to be in the rear of your truck, and you're going to have reduced load zones on the left, right, and front area of your truck. But really, you're working most out of the back of the truck, so that really doesn't affect too many techs. Inside the compartment, and this is standard with the Dom 2s, Dom 3s, Dom 1s, you've got these shelving brackets in the front and the rear. A lot of other bodies, they'll give you kind of a tab system that's mounted on the sides of the compartments here. And that does make it a little easier for you to adjust your shelves up and down. But really, for most of our guys, they're moving to their truck, they set their shelves where they want to, and we've got the shelving brackets with the nylock nuts. Once those are set in place, you really don't move them. Wanted to point out, since this body isn't built yet, this wiring harness. Wiring harness is an automotive style braided harness that is heat and cut resistant. And you'll notice here that every function is labeled every 3 inches. So if down the line you need to troubleshoot something or you need to tap into something to do some modifications, it's really easy to find which wire you're going for. All these connections inside are either a weather pack or a Deutsch connection. We build on customer supplied chassis all the time, and we're happy to do it. By far and away, the biggest issue that we can run into with chassis dealers that aren't familiar with our equipment is getting clean frame rail that we can build on. So you'll see this is a 14-foot body. The specs will call out that this is needs a 120-inch CA, which is the distance from the center of the rear wheel to the cab. Now that needs to be 100% clear distance. You can't have any def tanks or air dryers in the way. And really you could shorten that up a touch. You could get to maybe 118 inches, but again, you can't have things hanging off the side of the frame because the side packs are going to interfere. This is an IMT DSC-20 body, which is very similar to a DOM-1 body with some differences which we'll point out in a second. This is designed to accept up to a 20,000 foot-pound crane, which is an IMT 2020, or the electric version, which is a 4004i. This is 11 foot long. You can also get this in a 9-foot version with or without the workbench bumper, which I'll show you in a second. We've brought this one in with a 60-inch high RV1, which is near the passenger side, and 44-inch high compartments on the other side. A couple of different configurations. You can bring it in 60 inches all the way back or just in the front of that compartment. Depends on what you're looking for and how much storage you need. On the back of the DSC-20 body, you get two options for the bumper. You can get this nice workbench bumper option here, which is 22 inches deep, similar to the DOM-1, DOM-2, DOM-3 setup, or you can get a smaller, what's called a step bumper, that's made out of the same diamond plate material. That'll be just a couple of inches that you could step up with. The DSC-20s, the only stabilizer options are manual stabilizers. I almost said outriggers. And if you wanted the fully hydraulic stabilizer options, you'd have to go with a DOM-1. On the DSC-20 crane compartment, you'll notice that there's not the big panel like we saw on the DOM-1. It's a simplified version and there's a cost reduction that goes with that, so this may work well for you. You get toggle switches for your air compressor, your compartment lights, and your floodlights, and of course your stabilizers are manual, so you don't need controls for those. This is the IMT Dominator CS body, or the Contractor Series body. You only get one length option for this, which is 11 foot. It's rated to 20,000 foot-pounds, so you could put an IMT 2020 crane or an IMT 4004i electric crane on this. Only manual stabilizers, and you get a couple of different options for the back. You can either get the workbench bumper, or this also can come with a lift gate. The other big difference on this body is that instead of the 44-inch high compartments like on the DSC-20, these are raised to 52 inches, and you get a larger area in the RV1 compartment. On the RV1 compartment of the CS body, the Contractor Series body, you'll notice that unlike the DOM-1 or the DSC-20, which would have two latches, this is more of a barn door type opening. So if we open this up, you'll see that there's no wall in the center of your compartment. So this is about 50 inches of space here. You can also get this compartment raised up to 60 inches high if you want even more space. This gives you space to hang reels if you'd like to do that, or just in general, nice big storage area in your body. For security of your tools and everything, IMT gives you a couple of different options, and this is true not only of this body, but the whole Dominator family. Every one of these latches you can lock with a key. There's also a place for a padlock on those latches. And then an upgrade for security would be this master lock system, and this is the redesigned IMT master lock system, came out a year or two ago, and it's spring-loaded. So what you want to do if you want to lock it is just push it in, and then you can attach your padlock here. And the nice thing about it is, unlike the systems where you have the bar that sways from left to right, you don't run a risk of your doors accidentally being locked and having to come back here and flip your latch. This is an IMT Dominator 3 body. This comes standard in a 14-foot length, and you've got the 60-inch high compartments here. This is a little bit of a custom Dom 3 body, but they all have a couple things in common. Number one is no front stabilizers, and they're rated for 81,000 foot-pounds, so that's an IMT 12,000 pound crane. Remember that with losing the front stabilizers, your load zones are reduced on the left, right, and the front, but you are going to have 100% capacity in the rear of your truck, which is where you're working most of the time anyways. Point out a couple of custom things on this body. You've got the old style locking master lock system to work with a couple of different door features that they have. This is a taller bottle compartment for taller bottles, and then this recessed area here is where they're going to tuck in a salvage tank. So here we are, Big Daddy. This is a IMT Dominator 4. This is 19 foot long, and one thing you're not going to be able to do with this body is sneak into the job site. This comes in either a 14-foot version or a 19-foot version like you see here. The 19-foot version is obviously designed for a tandem axle truck. A couple of different things on this body compared to the Dom 2 or a Dom 3. First thing is that you're going to get the stabilizers on the rear here are both going to go out and down, not just the crane side. And then you're also going to get power stabilizers on the front of your body as well. This has an expanded workbench bumper. This tech needed a little bit extra space in the rear, but all the Dom 4s are also going to have 24-inch compartments deep on the passenger side to accommodate a larger crane base. So the driver's side is going to be 22 inches deep, just like the Dom 2, Dom 3 bodies, but the passenger side compartments are going to be 2 inches deeper. If you're looking for something custom or something standard, go to qtequipment.com and we'd be happy to help you out.